You are listening to the Hello Sport podcast.
We're back. Thursday pod in studio together. Hello Sport, Edward, Tom, Dior Dave, 2022. Still 2021 technically. Until February kicks off, but we're here.
In the final weeks of 2021.
In the final 20 weeks of 2021.
If you don't know what we're talking about, then shame on you. It means you haven't been paying attention. Or perhaps you're new here. If you are new here,
Welcome.
We welcome you. The long and the short of it is, our 2022 starts in February because January is the end of our year.
Yeah, January right off.
It's horizontal season. We are getting back to our feet and we will be upright Feb 1
Yep.
after my birthday.
That's it. That's the, what is it? What is 26? No,
29.
29.
Close.
Yeah.
Close.
Well, I mean, I knew it was between now and February, so I had only a few days to work with.
You may, yeah, exactly. So you've done reasonably well.
Yeah.
You've done reasonably
well. There's a few around there, though, and obviously...
Is there?
Well, there's Australia Day, which we don't celebrate anymore, Invasion Day, all that, but that's the 26th. Harvey's maybe like the 30th or the 31st. Then they're in there as well. I think Nude Soon is maybe early Feb.
He's Feb. He's a Feb guy.
Yeah, there's a few in there where I'm just like, you know, days that I'm trying to commit to memory because I want to be a good friend for you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on around there. Like my birthday is
June 6th.
No, see, so now, but close, 10th. So I'm cool with being offended or not being offended.
You were 3 days out. I was 4 days out.
That's pretty good.
I had to go the whole year. I already told you that mine was at the end of the year, end of the month. So
did I give you the whole? Did I say what? Did I just not even give you the month then?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's 4 days in 365.
Pretty good.
That's very good. I fucked. Yeah, as you said, I fucked it up with, 14 days to play with.
According to Wikipedia here on IMDb, Luke Bracey's birthday is in April 26th.
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Oh, really?
It's 100% in February.
Okay,
It's 100% February, and if I was to throw my sack on the line, it's February 10 or 20.
I have
fact,
11.
I think it's 20 because maybe my cousin's 10. I wonder where he is in the world. Should we try and fucking WhatsApp him? See what his birthday is? And then just say, all right, cool, see you, bro. I'll just call him here.
Just call him. All right, we'll call Nude soon quickly just to get confirmation. I've got the 11th in my head. Don't know why.
We'll work it out.
The 11th or the 7th or the 9th?
Now, he may not answer, which is okay as well, but it would obviously be much better if he did just to help our...
Don't know what time it is there. Could be anything.
I don't even know where he is. He could be in England.
He may be.
That's the sort of gallivanting life that he, like this nomadic life where it's like, oh, he's just in England. Like if I'm going, like my life's almost marked by the moments you go somewhere. You know what I mean? Oh, that was the year we went to here, or that was the year, fuck it, he's not answering. That's the year we went to here, or went to, that was that time we went on a holiday. Whereas for someone like him, life is just a constant travel fucking, you're living out of a suitcase almost all the time.
I'll say this, though, about years. They don't come to me like I would like them to, or like my dad or old timers seem to be able to recall. They're like, oh, that was 1936. And I'm like...
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, the last time I went to America, when would that have been, Edward? If I have to think about it, I'm going, it's like 2015, 2016. Yeah. Maybe.
Was that the time when I was also in America, but we didn't see each other?
No, I don't think so.
Because I went in I think I went in that time, 15 or 16.
Maybe you went 15, I went 16. Don't know. That's what I'm trying to say, punters and dribblers. I don't know for sure what years things happened, right?
Yes.
But people seem to be able to.
Some people have a much better recall on their fucking...
But what is causing that? Do you think that it's tied to something like the keeping of a journal? A diary? Like my old man used to write in his diary because he was a farmer. I think he liked to know that. I don't think that being a farmer means that you keep a fucking diary. He doesn't keep it anymore, but he did.
But that's why he kept it.
Like if it rained and shit, he'd like fucking write it down. I don't know if he used to go back and and read through his diary, but he would be like, oh, the last time we got fucking 30 mils in March was 1987. And I'm like,
Oh, right.
like he condoned that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's that about?
No, I mean, I guess, my memories from years is tied to like, 2014, Mitchell Johnson, 13, 14,
Yes.
forgive me. 10, 11, series we don't talk about.
What? No, I think that was called off.
It was called off that series.
Except
18,
for Siddle's hat trick at the Gabba.
That was
and then
the
after
only,
that, it's
after that
basically,
they shut it down. Was it
Yeah.
18-19 or 18-19, 4-0?
like, for example, the 2019 Ashes was a fucking absolute ripper. It wasn't until I watched back the Ashes series on Fox that I remembered
90%
anything.
of what happened.
90%.
2011, Manly win the comp. 2013,
Manly win the comp.
Manly win the comp.
The history books say it's something different, but
We show
those
very
that
little
know,
regard.
know.
Those that know.
Those that know.
But yeah, look, I'm with you on the sort of the recall of the years. My memory generally not that good, but certainly you struggle. I feel like sort of recent memories harder to remember sometimes.
You know, like, or maybe you need to be further away from it so that you have a feeling of it and then your brain just fills in the rest. For example, old people get to a certain age, especially men, in my experience, generalizing obviously, and I may have talked about this before, where they just like, they can fucking rail off yarn after yarn after yarn, and they're quite detailed.
But maybe the reality is then that the yarn itself more Mayo than they'd want
maybe
you to believe.
maybe it's all Mayo,
and more Mayo
but
than
they
they
don't
even
skip
remember.
a beat. They're just banging this
Yeah,
shit out.
yeah.
I'm like, is your mind just drawing on shit in the past, like you're dreaming in front of me?
Well, I think you maybe, as it is, you refine the yarn, you fill in the gaps, you add like a stand-up routine where it's like constantly improving as you're like getting the feedback from the crowd, and you go, okay, well maybe that works a bit more. It's like working out a set before you think you've got the set pretty dialed in, and now this is the story you tell. For the
Have
rest
you
of your
got a
life.
story that you tell?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that jackhammer one on Kempy's.
That's one of them. You've told that quite a few times.
I've told that a fuckload
Yeah,
of
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Told it here and now on Kempy yesterday.
And the red jeans.
The red jeans?
Which is like a spin-off.
It's like a second season.
Well, it's a second season. Did you like that one?
Yeah.
Well, I've got another one.
which was actually a prequel. The red jeans is a prequel
It
to the
is a
main
prequel,
thing,
but you don't generally lead in with it.
No, you don't. You start with Jackhammer and then go, I've actually got this other one that you'd like. But there's not really, to my memory, obviously, I think as in reference to like the old guy yarn, where like they probably don't even realize the Mayo they've put in it. This thing, at least I know, only happened like 2 years ago, so I know there's no Mayo on this thing. But by the time I'm 80,
Oh, it's going to be made all
I might have jackhammered
the
a
way
toe
out.
off by the time I'm 80.
Yeah.
I think that might be. I've got a few though. I reckon I got a few, but like that one is one.
Well,
that
I mean, I
comes
think
to
we've all
mind
got stories. I can't think
Yeah.
of what mine are. I'd
off
have
the
them.
top. Yeah, but you know you'd have them.
I've
Your
got 'em.
Easter Bunny.
Easter Bunny story, that's an absolute ripper.
Yeah.
I roll that out from
You
time
now
to
have the
time.
Bandicoot yarn.
Got a Bandicoot yarn. I haven't rolled that out yet. Too close.
Yeah, it's too close.
But
That yarn will come up again.
100% it will. And it's going to get better and better.
Yeah.
It's going to get better and better and
Yeah.
better. Like, I can Mayo the fuck out of that
Yeah.
thing. Like, Ella was kissing it and, like, stroking
Yeah,
it and
exactly,
holding it and
exactly.
shit.
Yeah,
Had
yeah.
it held tight to her bosom.
You
that sort of
guys
thing.
were crying in the car and then realized it was just a fucking bush rat. Like,
But the story is also, it's outrageous enough now that I don't know. I'm not going to need to put Mayo on it for 5-10 years.
you may never need to put Mayo on it. I think though it's about your mind losing. Like your mind's grip on the past weakening, and
Yes.
so just by necessity you start to fucking unintentionally
And
change little bits.
I can tell already just how I am as a person and the way that I do tell stories. That's already I feel the need sometimes to add a little bit of Mayo
You
in.
skew Mayo.
I skew Mayo.
So do I.
I'm happy to put my hand up and acknowledge that I skew Mayo. And is it 100% true? Not necessarily. But it's close enough too that a squeeze of Mayo for an extra couple of giggles
Yeah.
is usually worth it. Ella hates it. She's like, that's not what happened. And I'm like,
Yeah, but
that's your version of it, darling. My version, my recalling.
yeah,
Because we're just committed. It's a memory off right now. It's he said, she said. And I say,
I remember it.
I remember it this way.
But
Now,
I also think though, like when it comes to the addition of mayo to a yarn, I think it depends on the, I guess the type of yarn you're spinning. If this is just a yarn for a giggle, you know, teach yourself to jackhammer. Oh, you accidentally also jackhammered your toe off. Or bandicoot, we were crying about the bandicoot and then we realized it was a bush rat. Like that is innocent application of mayo where there is no loser, there's only winners because the yarn becomes funnier and tastier.
Yes. Whereas
if you are a Buzz Rothfield and you're putting mayo on yarns about like people's lives and shit.
Well, that's a completely different story.
That's an inappropriate application of mayo, or at least too much mayo.
I understand that. And I feel like you're putting that in there just so that we're clear with the punter and the dribbler. But also,
about where mayo works.
If you didn't get that, then you need to fucking sharpen up. Because mayo only applied, and should be applied liberally. Is that the right term?
Well, liberally is a lot.
Yeah, to
fun yarn.
To fun yarn.
Yeah.
100%. Don't go out there and start making shit up. I've known people in my past, I'm not going to get into who they are.
No, don't just tell lies.
Where they like, it's 90% lie.
That's not mayo, that's just
like,
lies.
okay, well, you can have too much mayo on a sandwich, can't you? Like, I like mayo on a sandwich like as much as the next guy, Tom. I like mayo.
Shout out to QP Mayo.
QP Mayo, dude. QP Mayo doing the damn thing. QP Mayo, king of the mayo world right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if QP Mayo is going to fall by the wayside like other great condiments have in the past.
QP Mayo right now, currently holding all the belts.
It's holding all the belts. It's undisputed. And long may it rain.
Yeah.
But you can have too much QP Mayo on a salad.
Well,
on a sandwich.
The reason that you know that you can is because when you do have QP Mayo, do you empty the bottle? No, you have a little bit.
No, you have a little bit.
Why is there a lid on there so it all doesn't fall out, so that you can control your dose of mayo?
Read the back of it. It'll probably say there's like 60 servings or something in there. Now, you could halve that and still get away with it.
Of course you could.
But you can't put the whole fucking thing on. It's like a sandwich that's got way too much dressing.
Too much mayo is a lie.
Yes. Now, what does that threshold look like? Dave, make a note. This will be a whiteboard session.
This will be a whiteboard session.
When does too much mayo become a lie? What's the mayo threshold? What is the mayo threshold?
The mayo scale.
The mayo scale, the mayo threshold. At what point, like at this point, it's too dry.
Yeah.
And the yarn will fall flat.
The yarn will go nowhere.
Yes. And so at a certain point, too much mayo has been applied and the yarn is lost.
Yeah.
Because the listener recognizes that this is a porky pie.
Yeah.
Now,
it's a fucking delicate balance.
It's a delicate balance. Tom and I are going to have to get into the lab, thrash that one out.
Yeah, we will.
But that's coming soon.
That is. Lots coming in 2022. We won't reveal any of it now, but know that there's a lot of plans in place, things to, I believe the Daft Punk song, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger.
Great song.
That's the plan. In 2022. So there's a lot going on, which we can get to at some point. But whiteboard sessions, blackboard sessions,
chalkboard
sessions, university lectures, just dropping some breadcrumbs.
Et al.
There'll be some shit coming. Anyway, Eddie, yesterday you and I were on the Dirty Merger podcast with UI and Kempy. And as we mentioned, I was telling the jackhammer story for the 400th time. Some dribbler heard that, and they work for a labour company, a labour hire company, or they work for a company that uses labourers. And so this dribbler has gone into their database, knowing that I was a labourer once fucking a couple of years ago, and has searched my name and was like, oh yeah, Tom Birmingham came up, and has called my phone.
He called you?
Called me. So I had a missed call, and I was like, and it was from a number I didn't know, and so I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just call it back. Like, I hate when you don't know them, but who knows who it is, so I call it back. This guy answers, and I'm like, oh, hey, it's Tom Birmingham here, I had a missed call. And he's like, oh, no, sorry, man, must have been a pocket dial. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, like a wrong number. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, all good, man, no worries. And he goes, oh, I love the podcast, by the way. And I go, wait, what? I go, He goes, oh wait, this is Tom from Hello Sport, and I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, I love the podcast, and I'm like, oh, thanks, dude. I'm like, so did you just accidentally call me and just happen to know the podcast? I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh no, like I looked you up on the database at work. So you said you're a labourer, and like a Tom Birmingham came up, and so I just thought, fuck it. I was like, right, okay, that's odd. He's like, yeah, dude, I love the potty. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. All right, cool. Hope you don't send my number around to anyone. But it was just a weird. I was like, okay,
It's a weird one. But you know what?
It wasn't. It was nothing malicious about it.
Nothing malicious. He's found you. He's got excited. He's like, he's running on instinct. This prick.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck it.
That's some serious DYORing.
Well, you know what's funny about it, Tom? If I could walk it out a little further, there are so many fucking labour hire companies and so many building companies in Sydney that the chances that the company he works for had your name and number in it when you worked so few days.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's
it's not like you were a fucking 5-year veteran of the game and you worked everywhere.
No,
so maybe it was meant to be.
It was meant to be, and I'm happy with that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't have any, there was no part of me that was like, oh, what the fuck? I was just more like, oh, this is bizarre. But I don't know that because he said the name of the company, so I'm like, I know the labour hire company I worked for, which was not the company he said, so I'm assuming that maybe I'm just a labourer that was once on the books of the company he works for.
Well, did you have to sign in?
Probably.
Yeah, well, that's it. So they would keep a record when you go to the site.
Right.
Your name, your number. He's signing in at this date so they can verify your hours.
Yeah,
when you get invoiced,
right. Well, there you go.
There you go.
So I thought that was, that happened to me yesterday. It was bizarre.
Very bizarre.
Shout
Highly
out to,
bizarre.
I won't say, I can't even remember his name, to be honest. I think it might have been a name that sounds like Michael. But anyway, shout out to
Mick.
you. Mick, thanks for doing that.
Mitchell.
Going and finding me number. Anyway, Eddie. Anyway, I've also, did I tell you that I was going to get an exercise bike?
You told me that you were going to get an assault bike.
Yes, well, an Echo Rogue 1 bike or something like that.
Is that an assault bike?
Rogue Echo. Well, it is. It's the same family, but after we spoke about assault bikes on the show,
Yes.
as is the case when we talk about things with which we do not know, which is 98% of things.
Possibly
higher, give or take. They were like, don't get an assault bike, get a Rogue.
Who is they?
Dribblers who exercise.
Right, okay.
They were like, get a Rogue Echo bike. And I was like, okay. It's cheaper. And okay. Sorry, Dave's just got up here. A wind guard would actually be worth the extra money because it's a bit annoying. I should have got all of the add-ons. Fuck, I'm an idiot.
You didn't get any of that?
I just got the Echo bike.
You didn't get a bottle cage?
No.
Where are you going to put your bottle?
I mean, you can literally sit it next to you on a
What about your
fucking
phone?
table.
Where are you going to put your phone?
Don't need a distraction while you're on the fucking Rogue Echo.
What if you just like want to change a song so you can fucking pound away?
There is that.
Look,
but
there are add-ons there. That's $10. It'll change your life.
Honestly, looking at it now,
When you build that thing, you're going to go, I should have somewhere for my phone here so I can change the music.
Well, I've already built it. That's it. So it arrived. I went and picked it up.
Oh, you built it?
So I went and picked it up Tuesday from Campbelltown, Rogue fucking HQ.
Oh, you went down there?
Now, I went down there. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but I thought it'd be able to fit in the car, just in the boot. Just in the boot of the car.
Couldn't?
Bro, I have 2 baby seats, so I can't lay the seats down. So I just thought, no, it should be all right. And then I get there and I see it and I'm like, of course I wasn't going to be able to fit this fucking thing in my car. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm just an idiot sometimes, a lot of the times. And the chick's like, well, if you took the baby seats out, I reckon you could fit it in. I'm like, oh, thank you. So had to take, I was going to just go, or it was like shipping $200. I was like, fuck this shit. I've driven out to Campbelltown. But anyway, they said the dribblers were like, don't go the assault bike, go the Rogue Echo, because assault bikes are on bike chains that need fucking constant maintenance. Mm-hmm. These are on like some sort of band system
Yep.
that basically doesn't even need fucking servicing.
Yeah, you're right. Because those assault bikes, well, at least when I was at the gym and I was using them some moons ago, they would break a lot.
Yes, they were like these, and like I went and again, I don't really do a lot of DYORing, but I went and sort of was looking at reviews online and like comparing the assault to the Rogue, and they were just like
4.9 out of 5.
Yeah.
From 3,673 reviews. That's as high as you're ever going to get.
It's as close to perfect as you can get.
I'm calling it perfect.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be some dickhead who
had a bad experience.
Well, who wants to skew the fucking... He sees a great rating on the rise.
Not for the vertically challenged.
If you're not above 5'3",
Who the fuck isn't above 5'3"?
Shorty J.
Shout out to my short kings out there.
Are you 5'3"?
I'm taller than 5'3".
Jesus, I was going to say, Dave, isn't that
I'm
like...
exactly 5 foot tall and feel like my money was completely wasted. Look,
You're 5 foot,
I would
dude.
say this. If you are 5 foot tall, surely there are things that don't work for you. That you need, like...
Yeah, like, you know what, dude? You're not going to play in the NBA. There are physical limitations to what a 5 foot person is going to be able to do. You might not be able to reach everything in the fucking store,
Like,
in a
do you need-
Woolworths.
Like, is that tall enough to drive a car?
I think so, but you
How
wouldn't.
tall is 5 foot?
It's small, dude. I tell you what, there'd be rides at the Easter show that you wouldn't be allowed on.
Like, yeah, you go to Wet and Wild, and not all the rides are for you.
No.
I mean, it's unfortunate,
But
but safety first.
we don't want you flying out of a fucking seat on a roller coaster. You're too small.
You're too small. We don't want to get the wind to get under one of these fucking...
Things and you just take off, or like the wind to get caught in your hoodie and you get like
Sucked
a leaf
off, yeah.
sucked off.
So,
on the breeze.
look, I'm not going to read that.
No.
But walk me through it. Have you given it a fucking test
I
run?
took it for a whirl yesterday.
You did?
I did.
How far'd you whirler?
I went 20 minutes. So that's like, you can hit like interval training and all the different sort of shit because it's the one. So it's not a bike. It's like at the arms as well. For
It's like an
punters.
assault bike.
Yeah.
But
for
it's
those
not.
just who are listening, you pedal and you swing your arms. But I had to set this whole fucking thing up, which was not difficult, but it's just, I feel like
Painful?
it's
Annoying?
almost, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. They're very heavy. No, took it for a whirl yesterday though. Very good. Very good. It wrecked me, which is what I want. I want to be able to get wrecked at home. That's sort of been the thing where it's like, when you're trying to find motivation to exercise, especially after silly season, the idea of leaving the house and going for a run, like if you only have 20 minutes, going for a run I'm not going for a 20-minute run.
No. And you can't, and by the time you get to the gym, it's time to leave.
It's time to go home again. So having this thing has actually been, I mean, again, I've done it once, but I'm like, I remember my old man had a gym that was sat out the back of the house and collected dust.
One of those like ones where you can,
Total gyms where you've got like the arm things and the like all that shit.
No one uses them. We used to have one that sat in the office unused for what seemed like millennia.
Yes. And they just collect dust and spider webs and shit. And it's like, it's a dusty reminder of your own failure. Or, you know, that might be too extreme, but you know what
My
I mean?
mum bought one of those like
Ab swings?
ab swing pros.
I would see those and be like,
I'm
dude.
like, you're not going to use that, Ma.
But they sell them so well,
Oh,
dude.
they sell them. God, they sell
They
them.
sell the shit out of them. I remember seeing them like when I was getting going, like, dude, who wouldn't buy an ab swing pro? I'm only 12, so I can't afford one myself.
Dude, me and Ella got home from this wedding on, or maybe it was after the tennis. Long day, had a fucking, after the tennis, which I'll talk about later, we went out for dinner. Shout out to Benny, happy birthday. Then went home. It was late, we were tired. Flicking through the channels, fuck all on. Come across like TVS or something, like one of those sales shows. There was a straight guy on there selling women's shoes live, and it was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like there's models out here and he's like explaining them and stuff, and he's like, oh, that olive green's going quickly, isn't it? Running out.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen,
really?
if you want to get in this olive green is to die for. One of the most beautiful shoes I've ever seen.
Oh, God.
And like you just see all these shoes going, like selling at 12:30 at night on this random fucking...
Are they actually selling?
I don't know. But there's a number on the screen and the sizes are disappearing. People will buy anything.
Are we recording on the camera, Dave?
No, we're recording in this.
Oh,
'Cause
sweet,
all
sweet,
the
sweet.
cards are full.
Oh, yeah, easy.
That's
No,
right.
it's all good. I don't like. I get being hoodwinked by the infomercial, or like my mum got a. What was the one that Chuck Norris used to do? Total Gym, where you're like, it's like a Pilates bed almost on like and you've got like the bands where your arms can move, and it's like you're laying on a board. They seem pretty legit. Like we used to use it sometimes.
But they always have the most cut motherfuckers doing it.
Well, that's the problem,
That's
right?
the wool pull.
Yeah, you've got a glistening six-pack on a fucking guy or a girl, and you're like, well, yeah, I mean, I'd love to look like that. I don't know if that's like, am I getting that all from this, or do I also need
Well, that's the thing. You're not going to get rock hard, shiny abs just sitting on the Ab Swing Pro.
No, you need to also be on one of the most stringent diets known to man.
You also probably need to go to the gym and go for a run and
do
get
many
on the
other
assault
things.
bike and
Yes,
shit.
yes.
The Ab Swing Pro probably a small part of that. But they hoodwink people left, right and center because they trade off something very simple, Tom, which is,
There is Total Gym, Chuck Norris.
you're a bit lazy, or like everyone, sometimes you can't be fucked.
You want a quick fix.
You want a quick fix. You want a shortcut. Like that one where you stand on the vibrating board and it says you lose weight. I'm like,
dude, there was one that used to, I can't remember.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, dude, there was one that was even worse. It was called like and just try to find it, Dave. It was like a ab shock or something like belt.
oh, when you...
And it was like you put it around, and if you let your gut out, it'd give you a little vibration, so it'd like suck your tummy in again. And all it was just a reminder to hold your gut in and have your abs flexed. And it was like, and the fat just melts away. And you're like, well, yeah, but even worse, they were smaller than that. That looks like someone's administering insulin. That thing's huge.
How do these things get like green lit? Supposedly, I heard this somewhere, so this could be complete and utter bullshit. But knowing what we know about how seemingly attractive some of the cell is, supposedly if you get a product that makes its way onto the infomercial circuit, like breakfast television. I don't know if they still do that on the breakfast show.
They do. It's fucking atrocious.
Like mid-morning television.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure even like your Carl Stefanovic shows.
No, after that one.
Well, certainly after they do. I
don't think they run the infomercials in prime time.
I hope they don't, because that's like just taking the piss out of the consumer.
That's right. But supposedly, if you get a product that makes it onto the highly lucrative infomercial circuit, Tom, you're home and hosed.
Do you remember that movie Joy with fucking Jennifer Lawrence? And Bradley Cooper, I think. Yeah, and it's a true story about a female US like chick inventor, I believe. True story. And she invented she invented like a different type of mop head. So she was very like the poor mum. I think she had like fucking, like a weird family dynamic, and she was a young mother, I believe. And she came up with this one, like a mop head, I think, where you could maybe take it off and wash it. I think that might have been.
So it says it was an innovative self-wringing type of mop.
So it might have been one where you can squeeze it out and then you can take it off and you can wash it.
Well, self-wringing implies that it did need to be wrung.
Well, I think self-wringing is in, so you know how the old mop buckets, you'd have to step on the thing and you drag the mop through it? This, I think, was the one where you can like slide down a cuff and it sort of squeezes it out into the bucket.
Yes, I'm with you.
Something like that. Anyway, mop chat. And then the whole movie's about her trying to get it like onto the infomercial thing, and then once she actually does, and it goes fucking psycho. So that stands to.
Well, if it was in a movie, it must be true.
Well, it was based on a true story.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. So it is true.
That's why
I was right.
You were right.
And you were right too. And we're all
But
right.
I wonder though, like in today's day and age, because that was set back in the day when I feel like infomercials were maybe more of a thing. Like I know they still are a thing, but how many? Can you try to find some numbers, Dave? I don't know what the fuck they'd be,
get the state of the infomercial
industry,
where it's at, where's it placed, how's it doing?
Because how much is it selling?
What's the future look like? Do you remember the ShamWow?
Yes.
Or
that guy came
ladder,
into,
which was like fucking 30 ladders in one.
Did you see the video though of that guy showing the ladder and it collapsed under him?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
The one where it can become like, it can go like this and then it can go all the way across.
Yeah.
Can you get the video up, Dave?
Oh yeah, and it can become scaffolding.
Yeah. Get the video up of the
it broke.
ladder infomercial going wrong. It's fucking good.
I don't think you ever want to buy a cheap ladder.
Bro,
If you're going to
get a
skimp on
ladder.
anything, don't skimp
Don't skimp on a ladder.
on a ladder.
Nah, absolutely.
Because your
not.
life is in its hands.
Yes.
And you need it to be strong, true,
Tip
sturdy,
top.
dependable.
I mean, yeah, like I don't think I ever really want to go infomercial with my ladders where it's like, oh, this does a crazy new thing. Where, yeah, here we go.
Oh, this is old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, well,
Do you want
just,
sound or not?
well, just, I mean, how easy is it to get through headphones? Just play it. Just play
Just
it.
play
It's a very easy situation to operate. You just push the buttons in right here on the two sides. There are two little buttons. And all you do is push them in, and that will release it. And right here, push the button in, that releases it. And then after you let go, it locks firmly in place. So really, you're all set. And this is tough.
It is?
Listen, give you an example. Say you have you have to get up on the wall, high ceiling, vault the
Right.
ceiling. Hey, listen, just walk right up. And I tell you, it's very safe, it's durable, and
Carol,
it's
you're
lightweight.
scaring me.
So really, see,
Wow.
now it's locked in
Now
place.
it's locked.
Okay? So really,
Oh, God, Harold, are you okay?
actually, I didn't have it locked. You have to lock it. Once you lock it, you're
Flexo
okay.
ladder.
But
Oh, it's very safe. Okay, pull the ad.
All right. Well, Harold, I hope you're okay.
The perils of live TV.
I know, but it's also like, if he is Flexo Ladder, that guy, he's just completely fucked his whole company in one go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
if he's Flexo ladder, yes.
if he's Flexo Ladder and this is his big break on the infomercial circuit and he's trying to break through and it's like that, he does that.
Often
you go,
it's not though. You're like the
So that was the thing in this movie with Jennifer Lawrence is she had someone else who didn't know, who was just like one of the TV salespeople trying to sell her mop, and she was on the sidelines going, "You are not selling this fucking thing well enough. Let me sell it. Let me sell it." And eventually, when she's allowed on there,
Yeah, it pumps.
that's when it starts to pump because
Okay.
she knows exactly how to work it.
But she
She's
knows the product.
But she's a mother from home who, like, you know,
like. Does Flexo ladder, if assuming that isn't him and assuming that guy has set it up wrong, have they got room to sue?
probably not. But it would be.
Or do you sign your life away when you go on the infomercial
Yeah,
circuit?
you go, fuck it. It either works or it doesn't. But
Yeah.
that guy, you'd hope they get another crack at it with a different salesman on the infomercial circuit.
Well, they've walked their Flexo ladder out. It's now got new iterations. It's still with us.
yes.
In a certain
Is it still
capacity.
the Flexo ladder, though?
No, it's not.
Yeah, they might have changed the name.
I think they
After
needed
this
to.
fucking
I think they needed
infomercial.
to. Who was the father of the infomercial? There must be someone who goes, you know what, we're going to do it this way.
Do you not find, and this is, like daytime television, of which I'm not a consumer, but I have been a uni student before and I've sat through many an Ellen show. And
You've
fucking-
also had days off school.
I've
back
had
in the
days off school
day.
back in the day. They just, I know it's not prime time, but there is like so little consideration of people that are watching TV at home. Like it is some of the most obscure daytime movies from like 400 years ago. And then when you've got shows like your morning shows and whatever, to just in the middle of programming drop out for 5, like you already go to ads for 4 minutes, every 4.5 minutes, every fucking 10 minutes. And then you come back from an ad and you drop into a fucking salad chopper ad.
People love it.
I don't reckon they do though.
Well, I think they do. That's why they play it.
I think they play it because they need money. And so they go, fuck it. It's a fuck it play where they just go, oh, we'll just chuck in another ad here.
Yeah, but if you watch that sort of television, like I know what you're saying. It's sort of part and parcel. Like if you're gonna watch this mindless mid-morning television, then this is a part of the setup.
You know
And
what
we're
you're getting
gonna-
into.
and you know what you're getting into. I think in the fullness of time it'll die because people will stop watching television.
Yeah.
And no one in their right mind is going to Netflix and going to, I want to watch like some latest infomercial fucking special.
No,
Do you know
I
what
think
mean?
I think it's almost like the people who watch the mid-morning shows,
It'll die
will-
with the boomer.
they will die out as so will the concept.
It'll die with the boomer.
Yeah.
You would think.
You would think.
But we may well be wrong. Infomercial was fucking fascinating. What was the other ones they had? Like the karate chopper or
Slap chop.
slap chop, where you slap it in it.
Yeah, yeah. We got one that's I think called is it a sumo slicer?
Sumo slice.
Yeah.
Sumo something.
There was a slap chop sumo slicer. I think we've got like a grater, which actually is pretty fucking good that my old man bought us off infomercial, and we already had one.
Is he a bit of a connoisseur of the infomercial?
No, not at all. But he also doesn't, he also stays up late and watches fucking weird TV. So I'm sure he can happen across an infomercial or two. But it's by no means, he's never bought us something off an infomercial before, let me tell you. But for whatever reason, he rocked up with maybe it was the sumo slicer. But you basically, it's it's a great grater. So instead of grating on those fucking things.
Grates for you.
You basically have, much like a juicer where you put a carrot into a juicer, you have that, you push down your vegetable and then you crank a handle and it
grates.
just, to the point where if you're making a spag bowl, which is one of my specialties, you could almost slice this shit so thin that it absorbs into the mince more than it, you do that to say,
onion, garlic.
Whatever. By the time the heat has got to it, it's just melted away.
Melts in.
Becomes part of it. Which, if you want my opinion, you didn't ask for, I prefer to actually manually chop my shit because I like to have a bit more in it. A bit more
substance,
a bit more nuts to it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Anyway,
I
that's a side
that.
point. But shout out to the sumo slicer, shout out to infomercials.
Do you want to know a bit about the history?
Yeah, just give us a quick one.
Quick rundown, not too long.
So the first kind of infomercials were essentially soap operas. So companies used to be able to sponsor entire TV shows and produce them. That's how soap operas got their name, because they were sponsored by soap companies. At the beginning, the first actual infomercial was a Vitamix blender. But basically what it says here, in the 50s to the 80s, there was no limit on how many ads... 50s to 60s, there was no limit on how many ads you could have on TV in the space of an hour. So they were just putting on full shows which were ads. Then they changed the laws, and that's kind of when infomercials came in, where you had to have shorter periods. And so the Vitamix blender was the first one. There was a dude called Ron Popel who basically made them famous and started making them, because he was actually a real good salesman. I think the ones before then were just people kind of explaining shit.
And where are we at? Where the infomercial at?
Right now?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but it's from what it says here, they're mostly confined to breakfast TV slots, early morning slots, or having their own channel on free to air and in America on cable.
Which they do.
Which they definitely do. They've still got them here. If you just flick around on channels long enough on free to air, you find one or two fucking...
They're not used in prime time anymore and stuff.
No, thank God.
Tom, I watched one of the most ridiculous shows I've ever seen the other night.
Emily in Paris?
No. 1:30 a.m., Channel 7. It was called The Proposal. I looked it up. It lasted one season. It was canned for shit ratings. Surprise, surprise. The premise. A guy or girl is like The Bachelor.
It's a reality show?
The Bachelorette. It's a reality show. It's like Married at First Sight on steroids. So... they're sitting behind this screen, they're in the darkness and something's sort of shielding them so that the other contestants can't see them.
So it's like a silhouette.
Like a sort of thing. Then they come out, so there's one of them and then there's 8 girls or guys, depending on who the bachelor or bachelorette is, and they come out and then they answer questions about themselves, and that sort of runs through it.
Yeah.
There's also a bikini section, so the girls had to come out in their bikinis and shit. The guys
And then
had
what
to come out.
dudes had to come out?
Yeah.
But you can't see their faces?
They can see the contestants, but they can't see who they're trying to potentially end up with.
So the person who is so if it's a guy and all these girls, the guy can see the girls?
And the girls can't see the guy.
The girls can't see the guy. Gotcha.
Yeah. And it was just getting more and more ridiculous. Asking questions like, how often do you think a married couple should have sex a week and shit like that? Really rogue stuff.
Yeah.
All in their bikinis and stuff. Really fucking weird. Then at the end, right, when the guy makes his selection, he ends up proposing.
Oh, they get married?
He proposes
they get
after
engaged?
1 hour. 1 hour, 60 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There was tears. This lady brought her fucking daughters and shit onto the stage, and the guy's like, group hug, and they're all huggy and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
That was always shows like that, shows like Maths.
I'm like, this has to be bullshit.
Well, they're all bullshit.
But like, they have to be actors, right?
No.
You can't be crying on a TV show after an hour because you got engaged.
Well, but you can be if you're a freak. And who goes on that sort of a show? Someone who's not a freak?
But sure, does that surprise you? It surprises the fuck out of me that people are that fucking desperate.
No, doesn't.
1 hour?
They're not. They're desperate for many a thing. I think there's
Like
a lot
maths,
wrapped up.
I get it. Like there's like at least there's like a month or two there. 1 hour?
It's probably about more than just if you get picked. Maybe it's more than like just getting picked. Maybe it's like, oh, this is my life's finally turning around. I've had a tough trot at it. Fuck, am I going to get famous now? Like, are we going to have that? Like, I don't know what the. I mean, again, it only went for one season. I don't know the inner workings, but like, there are fucking weirdos in the world. One of the things that I always found, and like I could understand how it was even more galling for like when gay marriage wasn't legal. And these sorts of shows that just were absolutely defiling the sanctity of marriage, whatever the fuck that means. Like divorce rates are already through the roof anyway. But like when you were just having shows where you could get married in an hour and a half, and then it was like, but you couldn't. But gay people weren't allowed to marry because like for some people thought it was going to ruin the sanctity. It was like, well, where were you on The Proposal season 1?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Probably tuning in. Probably loving it.
Exactly. Going, this is some fucking TV. But those shows are just so ridiculous.
It was almost like the writers go, let's make something so absurd that it may well be entertaining.
It may catch on. The idea of MAFS was the same. When MAFS came out, now we're all like, MAFS season 7's about to start. People are frothing. When it first came around, it was like Married at First Sight being the title.
Yes.
I mean, it's as ridiculous as that show, Eddie. They're married the first second they meet.
Yes.
And some of them cry at the wedding. Let's be real.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like, at least these fuckers have an hour to like walk around in bikinis and shit. He actually has a choice. He can pick a few. This is just slammed into someone and go, all right, get married.
Yeah, and these like faux psychologists.
Exactly.
Who must be the laughing stock of the profession. Are like, we're going to put you together. It's like bullshit. You're not trying to get them together. And I think this season, again, what I read, you read things. Things come across your desk. Certainly after the train wreck of last season, I think this season they're like, we actually probably need to try and...
Wait, what was the train wreck from last season?
Well, like...
It's always a train wreck, isn't it? Like,
but I think there was a lot of fucking animosity. Like, it was sort of... It was not about love at all. It was about just fucking cat fights and people screaming at each other.
So they're going,
shit.
we need to get this thing back to love.
To love.
Yeah.
Because people like a little bit of love.
I don't mind love, Eddie.
You know what I mean? Like the Bachelorette and shit and the Bachelor hang their hats on success stories.
Yes, of which there aren't many.
But that's what they hang their hat on,
Yes.
right? So in maths, it's all about people throwing red wine on each other and screaming and crying.
Yeah.
Then it gets a little bit like, okay, well, we've gone away from
Love.
the married thing, which
Yeah.
you're trying to sell us on. We know it's bullshit, but part of us wants to believe it's true.
There's a couple of success stories that have been there. Obviously not many, if any.
The only one I can think of, and there may be others, but I don't.
We don't follow
I
it
don't follow
closely.
it closely enough. I've only watched one series of maths, and that was the one Mikey Pembroke
was on.
Was Matty J and someone? Matty J, was he a bachelor? Was he a bachelorette? No, he's not a bachelorette. He was on the Bachelorette.
Yeah, he's on the
maybe?
Bachelor. He's a bachelor. Well, whatever. He's on like either the one or the one. Like he's either the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. But
Yes, season 5 of The Bachelor.
he's in radio. I know who that you're talking about with the chick.
Yes, whose name escapes, who does
Yes.
a podcast.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He's also an attractive individual. Just
He's
as
very
a side
attractive,
note.
yeah.
They all are, though, I guess.
Good for him.
Dude.
But are there any other success stories? Don't know.
The maths
one-
one. There's one on maths, which is like a redhead chick and a dude who played cricket, and they like have a kid now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I loved it when Honey Badger,
Just went, nah.
and this was because it was everywhere, just goes, nah, and just didn't pick anyone.
No. But I think that the badge...
I'm like, I respect that badge.
So do I. I think that there's a conspiracy around the badge's involvement, that badge... and fucking no knock on him for doing so, if it is true, but it was like, I'm doing this for coin more than I'm doing it for anything else. I'm doing this for brand badge. Not even brand badge, because I think his brand maybe took a bit of a knock, but it was like, I don't play footy anymore and I need money. I think he's got some like illnesses in the
badge.
family and shit.
Yes.
And so it's just things where he's going like, you know what? Am I stoked that I'm going to do The Bachelor? Not really, but I'm just
Am
going
I
to
breaking a few hearts on the way through? Sure. That's also not what's not talked about. It's like on The Bachelorette and shit. It's like, oh, it's all about love and it's nice. I'm like, some chick, like, what about the chick who comes second? She's just as wrapped up in this whole thing as the chick that wins.
I know.
She's so pumped. And then he's like, nah,
sorry.
on fucking national television. One of the great nah bras all time.
No, it's the great nah, bruh. Because a week before on the show, it's like, I'm meeting your family and I fucking love you. And it's but I'm not, I can't be.
But also they're hooking up and they're tonguing and shit. He's probably
fingering each other in a bloody, in a jacuzzi
probably
somewhere.
Just gave him a handy, like, you know what I mean? They may not have fucked, but
they've definitely fucked.
But they're going to bases, Tom. We know that.
I think you fucked if you're about to pull the trigger on a bloody.
Well, you want to see what the roots like? Is that what you're saying?
Of course you do. Whether it's man, woman, or whatever, like you've got to take your potential life partner for a spin.
Yes.
And that's going for both. Like,
Well, it's a test drive.
You both want to test drive one another.
Well, like 100%. It's a mutually beneficial test drive.
Test drive.
But then to get Narbrad at the end where he's like...
On TV, sorry, the other one won, not you.
Yeah. And they're devastated afterwards.
Can I tell you, I had a similar Narbra from a Bachelor. So there was one year, and I think it was the one with Sam Frost radio chick, Home and Away.
Was she on The Bachelor?
She was on The Bachelor. And then
she the Bachelorette?
Yes. And then I think she did both.
Yep.
Not the point.
What about the chick they changed her name to Love? Like her name was like Jess fucking whatever. And,
really?
And they changed her last name to Love.
Well, see,
to be the Bachelorette.
That's because we really want to try and squeeze as much love into this thing as possible. I mean, I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me that they changed someone's name. The guy who won on Sam Frost season, I think that it was that one. He's called Sasha. He was my school captain in Barrel when I went to a school down there in Oxley before I moved up to Sydney. He was the head boy. And he was like in my, what are they called, like a tutor group? You know, like the thing that you sort of go to before school.
Like
and
cottage
it's got like
or whatever.
People from every year in there and you sort of...
Homeroom,
tutor group thing. And he was in there and he was like a fucking good dude, knew him very well. And sometimes I'd live pretty close to school, so I'd walk. And then sometimes he'd see me and go, hey, come on, get in. And like he'd pick me up and he'd drive me down to school. Anyway, he was like someone you looked up to, like, oh, sick, played footy and shit. I left the school, I never see the cunt again. Then I see him on The Bachelor. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's crazy.
Was he the Bachelor?
He wasn't. He was a contestant and he won it.
Yes.
And anyway, I think I might have even been with you, dude, when we were in I think we were in fucking Cubby's Kitchen or some shit. We're in Chock's restaurant, I think. But I saw him there. I was like, oh, fuck, it's Sasha. Like, I'll go say g'day. I haven't seen him for years. And I went, hey, bruh, look, you may not even fucking remember me, but blah, 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 filled him in. But I was like, surely you remember me. It was your final year of school. Like, I think he knew my old man a bit as well. So, like, you just sort of think, like, whatever. So I go to say g'day to him. And he just blanks me so hard. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, like, nice to meet you. And I think he thought that I was, like, a fan of him from, like, The Bachelor or some shit. And I was just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, my God.
This has gone so badly. Like, again.
Like, I was bold from you to fucking pick up an old acquaintance. That's not in my repertoire. Fuck that.
Dude, I walked away going, why'd you do that? In what? Like, why did you need to go say g'day to that guy from fucking 12 years ago? Like, what are we even
And the rest.
It's like, you're right.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. Yeah, I was like fucking 30, I reckon. I was shocked at myself.
Did you do it because he was on The Bachelor?
No, I honestly
Be
didn't.
honest.
I tell you what I don't care about, The Bachelor. He was genuinely like someone I got on with. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, let me get a quick pic. He was like someone who got on with very well. I don't know what it was. It's one of those things where I genuinely walked away going like, why would you even, what the fuck were you going to get out of that? Oh yeah, hey man, how you doing? Later. Like, and it was just one of the great Narbras all time. oh yeah, hey man, oh yeah, cool, brother, yeah, okay. And I'm like,
Did you get a handshake in at least?
it was a reluctant one. I put it out like, hey man, how you doing? Good to see you. Again, like he was sitting at a table. I was kind of just walking past, but I thought I'd do it. And then he sort of looked up, awkward. You can tell in the eyes, this guy doesn't want a bar of me / doesn't know who I am. Like doesn't remember me from school at all.
What sort of explanation did you give? How much context?
Nah, bro. We had it. As soon as I read
Did
the
you
room,
pad this thing?
No, bro. As soon as you can see the writing on the wall, I was out of there. Anyway, man, just wanted to say good day. Take it easy. Just walked off. And then I fucking feel like it was with you, but maybe it wasn't. But I basically just sat down and went like,
Well, I feel like I'd remember that.
yeah, I think you might have, or you would, or maybe I just didn't tell you because I was
You
so
mightn't have told me, mate. You might have buried that one deep within.
Yeah.
On Narbras, great opportunity for me to segue. I saw one of the most brutal Narbras I've ever seen at the tennis.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was a biggie. Set the scene, punters and dribblers. Court 3, which is like, it's towards the back courts, but it's still like a bit of a stadium, a small one, like quite small, more like stands, but it's fully encircled. Kokonakis was playing there. Great fucking great.
Did you watch the cock play?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we got in there by the fucking skin of our sacks. Like there was no seats anywhere. We sat, but we had a good position sitting on the stairs. And as it was throughout the match, people left. We got seats. It's by the by. This place was fucking heaving. Like the fanatics were at one end. All these Greek supporters were in there as well.
Fanatics are the Blatchies Blues dribblers of tennis.
Yes.
Yes.
You know them. There's usually the guy that wears the sailing hat, who I think may have retired.
Was he head fanatic?
No,
Did he start him?
from what I was seeing, a mate of mine, Pat Giddos, is now the head fanatic. He was like sitting in the middle leading all the songs and shit. I'm like, I didn't know you did that.
Wow, that's such
And here you are like leading this shit. And all the boys, like Ollie and shit, were like, bruh, he fucking loves this shit. Didn't you know that? I'm like, no, I didn't.
Is he a tennis fan or he likes to cheer for the nation?
I can't work out.
Because that's like an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Are you just obsessed with Australia or
look,
do you love tennis?
The fanatics seem to be fairly and squarely rooted in tennis support. So I think there needs to be an affinity, a love for the game of tennis above being like a supporter of the nation.
You also, though, need to have a love of cheering.
You've got to have a love of the war cry,
Yeah,
Tom.
the war cry, yes.
Like he started I am, you are, we are Australia, and from all the lands on earth we come.
While we're in the stadium.
Yeah. That sort of shit.
Jesus Christ, that's such a commitment of a
Such
day.
a commitment.
Like, do you want to go to the tennis? Yeah, I'd love to go watch. Okay, sweet. Then you get there and you don't realize that you're dating the fucking head of the Fanatics.
Yeah.
Which is like a cheer squad bikie gang.
I think the fluoro green singlet may be a giveaway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a shucker hand on it. That's by the by. The Greek supporters, though, like, and no offense to the Fanatics. Fanatics were great. Fanatics are good. But the Greek boys are more my flavour.
Well, because I think they've also come from a long line of European sort of cheer, which is intense, which is flares, which is fucking, you know.
Oh, it's passion, baby.
Yeah.
And it's so infectious. And so the crowd's fucking loving it. People are getting pumped up. People are yelling, yipping, yahooing. One guy goes, okay, it's my turn. It's my turn to add. So he gets
From
up
the Fanatics?
from the crowd. He was three rows in front of us. See this guy pop up, looking to put an Aussie onto the crowd. Gets up there, and I don't know if he wasn't au fait with how it's sung, or if nerves got the better of him, or if he was going, I'm going to do something a little different. But he gets up there and he goes, Aussie, 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 like this really weird tempo. And everyone, let's say there's like 3,000 people in the crowd, collectively as one, listen to it. Crickets.
Did he have another go?
No, he sat back down.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
And then gets a pat on the back from like, we assume it was mum.
Fuck, that's so bad. How old was this guy?
I don't know. He would have been early 20s. It was fucking brutal. And there's just something so brilliant about crowd support where it's like, no one's agreeing, no one's talking it through. sort of conversation you're having with people. Are we going to support this guy's abomination of an Aussie classic or not? It's just there is uniform agreement.
It's kind of like a meritocracy where it's like you either win us over or you don't, and we're all like.
But what I'm saying, it's crazy how aligned everyone is.
Yes, because you can pick up on a vibe of a random, like what works and what doesn't. Sometimes is vibe.
Because he's gone to pick his moment when it was relatively quiet. The Greek boys had shut up, the Fanatics had shut up. Like this was his moment.
Yes.
But there was also it was fever pitch.
Yes.
So he's like, I'm going to trade off this energy
and try and get something going. But then he's gone. I am also. That seems like a choice as well to do a different tempo on the.
Do you think so? I sort of thought he got up there and shit it.
Well,
there's a lot of pressure on.
If you can't even get the tempo right, and if you fuck up an Aussie,
it's quick. It was too slow. It's Aussie.
But that's what I mean. Like if you're fucking up that tempo, then cheering ain't for you.
It was like Aussie. It was like that. It was like ooh.
Nah. If you fuck that tempo up by accident, then you are not in, like, the cheering game is not for you. But if you went and tried to put your own spin on it, I mean, the cheering game's still not for you, but you are leaving it, you're certainly leaving it in the hands of the crowd to go, like, the vibe check on this is that was weird and lame and I'm not getting behind him.
Then, like, literally 3 minutes later, someone else gets up there and, you know, gives it a bit of gusto, does it correctly, and he gets all the love back.
And
this was Mexican wave territory. That sort of shit was going on.
That's the nail in the coffin probably for that guy's.
Well, mate, the joke amongst us was that he left there and then.
Yeah, but that's the last
like
cheer
it's time to go. And I think, to be honest, if you get up and you fail at an Aussie, I think it is time to leave.
No, yeah, definitely.
I think you need to give your seat up to someone else, someone more, worthy.
But have your cards marked never to cheer again.
Never cheer again.
Or lead. You never lead a cheer again.
We'll never lead a cheer again. You can take part in one. Yes. I'll allow you to take part in a Mexican wave, but that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, you can't.
I like to think he left in shame, left the ground in shame, and did the right thing.
I also think, Eddie, that when starting a cheer, like you think about the Greek guys that were all there, community, the Fanatics, a community. You're trying to start a cheer. Like anyone in their right mind knows if you're trying to start a Mexican wave, you're starting a fucking war cry, whatever. You need to have people already bought into your to your belief system, to your core values as a fanatic, as a cheerer of sport, so that when you get up there, you've got people backing you.
100%. You can trade off the energy in the room, though.
But by yourself having no support.
But if it's been done, and
who goes to sport,
and you've had enough liqueur, I think you can get up there and if you rip it, you'll get support.
But you already surely are there with people who will support you if you go after it. This guy's mum didn't even go for it.
No one did.
No one.
Not a soul.
Like this guy, it seems like his mum had no idea it was coming.
So you just passion took over.
He just passion took over and he tried to one out this thing, and you cannot one out in the cheering game.
No.
Or if you can, if you can successfully one out in the cheering game, you might be the next Hitler or like fucking, someone who can like manipulate masses.
It can be done. But he just didn't do it.
No.
He stunk. He stunk the fuck out of it. But it was so funny. I was pretty, I'd had a couple of ciders at this point, some champagne. So I was in a good mood, and this sent me sideways. I was in tears.
Did no one react and then people start laughing?
Oh, fuck, we did. We were like losing it. I'm like, oh my God, that was the most brutal thing I've ever seen. And we were so close. I could see him. I wish I was facing his face.
Yeah.
Just to read him.
Just to see it all.
Just to see
the colour drain.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's tough. Started watching Drive to Survive. Finally. I think it was probably a bit of the, like the yin and the yang, where it's like, you need to binge on fucking 2 seasons of Emily in Paris in less than 24 hours. I needed to counterbalance that. Like I needed to sort of try and get back to some sort of equilibrium, and Drive to Survive is fucking hectic. Sorry, I'm late to the party. I don't think I've been recommended a show more, and I just it became... I saw a funny meme where it was like shows that I've been recommended and then like show I've just fucking scene pop up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's like you've been recommended some show for years, and then I just see Emily in Paris, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll watch that.
That's the way it works. Like I've only watched a couple of episodes of Drive to Survive.
Yeah. I haven't finished the first season, but you're like, oh shit, okay, I see what everyone's talking about here. Like, for us, in terms of narrative and yarn, dude, Formula One has it. Like, they've got so much fucking narrative and yarn. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, you know, I only pay attention to sort of periphery shit, who's winning, Ricardo, where's he at? But like, within every team, there's fucking yarn, because obviously you're in the same team, you're up against the co-driver, the team owners, where they're getting their cars made. So like in the first season, and again, I know I'm recapping old shit from 2018, but like when Red Bull basically go, oh yeah, look, we're not using Renault engines anymore, and the Renault team are so cut, you're like, oh my God, dude. That is like one of the great, that's a Nabra and a half.
It's an Abra. It's a big contract to lose.
It's a huge contract to lose. And then they're sitting there in the press conference and like they're still kind of rude to each other as well. Like there's so much fucking there's so much conflict, but like public bravado and people talking shit to each other, and like, I can see myself getting more into it. If I've just got to pound through. How many seasons are there of Drive to Survive now? Tell me I don't have to.
3?
Okay, 3
4?
I can get through. I was on some vegan cookies when I did first watch it, and I did find, like, just before I called it for the night, I was like, I am now feeling like it is still just a lot of cars driving around. You know what I mean? It's almost like I need you to keep the narrative fucking good. This is what I do want to know, because then I started messaging my sister who's obsessed with Formula, and she's like, oh, thank God I can fucking finally talk to you about this shit.
My brother's fucking obsessed with it. He knows a
Well,
lot.
you know, I mean, maybe it'll bring us all closer together. But Team India, or I don't know what they're called. Force India. Are they still a thing?
No, I don't
So they
think
did fold?
I think so.
Fuck. I was wanting to.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, from the
Well,
28. Yeah.
Is it a spoiler?
No, not really. It's not a fiction show. Like, you can just fucking, you either know or you don't.
Did South Africa actually win the World Cup?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
2018 was their last season.
Okay, so they do, yeah, because their owner is like just a fucking wild bit of gear. But I was trying to work out who I'm going to go for. Obviously, you go for Ricardo, right? Like, that has to be number one.
well, you have to.
Right?
You have an obligation to, Tom.
But I also don't like Renault.
yeah, but it's.
No, I'm saying I'm going for him
Yes.
in spite of the car he's driving.
Well, what's happening this year, and for those that follow F1, they'll be like, shut the fuck up, Edward, go to bed.
Yeah.
I probably won't get this
Well,
right.
we're going to get like all the time, people start fucking writing comments going,
We don't know what we're talking
I
about."
hate when you talk about it. It's like, well, you're going to hate when we talk about anything, because we don't know what we're talking about, so get over it. But Eddie, tell me exactly what's happening in Formula One this year.
So they are changed. So this was, as far as I know, Lewis Hamilton's dominance, and supposedly the purists think he was robbed in the last race. So he should have won that one anyway. His dominance in the hybrid era, right? Like, so Mercedes dominated the hybrid era.
So there was a hybrid era where what? It's not all petrol.
A lot of it's engine, like a lot of it's battery powered.
Right, okay.
So it's about storing energy that's created.
Has that
from
always
braking
been?
and shit. No. There's like new iterations of the car constantly. But then there's like a new era we're walking into now. I don't know what this new era looks like, what's involved, what happens, what the fucking changes are. I know that there's a cap on spending, so that the big boys can't just go and fucking spend their way to glory,
Yeah, right.
basically. I don't know what the cap looks like, how it's going to work, but we are walking into a new iteration of the cars. So this season coming up should be very interesting.
The season that's just gone, where Verstappen won it in the last race, Controversy City.
Yes.
That hasn't been turned into the show yet, has it?
No, that will be next season.
You know what's incredible about the show as well is the access. Like, again, I'm only in the first season, but you have access to Ricardo and some other cunts that don't, Charles Leclerc and shit.
Yeah.
Even Verstappen, who has now gone on to become Verstappen. But like, the access that you're getting, the things you're hearing them talk about, the candidness, Alonso fucking crashing in testing, and they're like, that shouldn't happen. And they're all like they're having a crack at him though. I think where it's like he's pushing it too hard, and he's like, because he's a 2-time world champ, it's like how do you tell a fucking throbber what to do? But he's like getting to a point where it's like we're gonna need to tell this guy he's crashing and testing, whatever. Sorry, I know my F1. But the access just after he's crashed, and he's like, "Do we need to be filming this?" And it's like, "Yep." Sorry, bro. This is Drive to Survive. And then you've got like fucking NRL clubs wigging out about filming in Origin.
I wonder if
there should be a Drive to Survive-esque NRL show. Every single club is in the same position where every single club is getting filmed. Stiff shit. You're all dealing with it.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. It's happening.
Shut the fuck up. It's happening.
Like,
and then at the end you would have but you could do the episode thing about like you're telling, we're looking at the Tigers right now and they're under the pump. They're struggling. This is the storylines for them. Oh, we're over at the Seagulls. This is where we got competitions for spots here on the wing. Oh, we've just got fucking, there's contract talk about Moses Sully, but he's playing really well when he's on the field. But Brad Parker's the one they want to go. Like you could have all of these.
It's all marketing, and that's what a lot of these people forget. It's like create a narrative, make it interesting, the people will come. Is Bernie Eccleston still involved in F1?
One of the oldest humans to ever father a child.
I wouldn't surprise me if this Drive to Survive thing was fucking his idea. It was his, like, Formula One wasn't anything until Bernie came along and aligned it with, like, prestige.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a marketing guru, Bernie.
Also, can you check how old he was when he had a kid? I swear he was in his 90s, or maybe it was 70s.
He's old as fuck.
Yeah, he's as old as he gets. But, like, to have a kid at 70 is one of the great big day calls of all time.
Well, it's a big day call. But from a big day guy.
From a big day guy. Not what we're talking about, though. But
I agree with you.
But this Drive to Survive, though.
Like, we don't get, in NRL, we get no access. No.
Drive to Survive will have done untold, like, you think about the amount of chatter that's come from Drive to Survive. We're like, obviously Formula 1 was already big, but to get like periphery fans or people who didn't give a fuck at all, like Streety, who's now obsessed with Formula 1.
My brother.
Did he get into it from Drive to Survive?
Yeah.
Right. Like you're bringing in these people from making a really good fucking product, and then you've got this like auto-fellatioing fucking, no disrespect, but like Tales of Tiger Town, which is like not really much when you compare it, right? When you compare what Tales of Tiger Town was to a Drive to Survive, you're like, this isn't real. This isn't really like, this isn't warts and all. This isn't like real insight.
No.
Players aren't really interviewed. Like, you're not, like, why can't, there is so much fucking pressure on the drivers in Formula One. I would say fuckloads more pressure than you are as an NRL player, although it's all relative, but like, and they're prepared to speak and have like, and they've got media engagements out the arsehole. Like, have fucking, like, it would be.
Well, it just seems to be part and parcel
of the Formula One sort of thing, you mean? Like, yes.
Like, it's sort of reared with that expectation. The same in the NBA. Like, they get interviewed to within a fucking inch of their lives.
Yes.
And they seem to just be more comfortable with it. In Australia, they're shielded from it so much.
That it makes it seem like it's worse than it is.
And they grow up in that environment, and the coaches are like so suspicious of the media. Maybe it's got something to do with our media down here and how.
I think media is pretty similar everywhere in
Do you
terms
reckon?
of. But yeah, like, I mean, I don't think that Australian media is particularly fucking malicious compared to anywhere else. But I also understand why a coach would be like, no thanks, media who just like spin yarn, But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a fucking documentary. Obviously, you will be able to present a narrative however you want to in an edit from a documentary standpoint.
Well, like, think about The Last Dance with the Bulls. They had fucking access, like, they had cameras in there filming that shit in, 1998?
Yeah. And with the greatest team and greatest player of all time. Like,
and Michael Jordan, who could comfortably tell you to fuck off
whenever
if he
you want.
into
But
it
it was like, no, all right, this is what we're doing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing where it's like you need to accept also, like, firstly, you need to be able, as like an athlete, I think you need to be able to like not necessarily thrive in that situation, but you need to be comfortable in that situation because it's part of the fucking reason that you're able to get paid what you're getting paid. But it's also like, think about someone like Daniel Ricciardo, who isn't a world champion, but he has got more personality than any motherfucker in the racing, in the Formula One. And he's in front of the camera in that 2018 season. He's talking it up. He's saying like, he's being funny. He's talking about, he's being like honest about, you know, what he believes in himself and like what he thinks he can do and all this shit, and how, like, you know, there was one point where he won Monte Carlo and he was like, and it was coming to the end of his time with Red Bull, and it's like, yeah, this is going to be really good for me fucking like with my next contract because I've just won the fucking thing, and Verstappen shit the bed in qualifying or whatever. Like he was very open about
His
it.
Renault
Like,
contract was fucking massive.
it was like
I think
50 million or something, wasn't
I
it?
think he got 30 million a year or something.
Right. Insanity. But
Probably euros, so
Yes.
it's probably higher.
And so it's, you don't necessarily need to be talking about money, but it's like, it'd be great to hear some, like a player talk like honestly about, yeah, you know, like I am coming to the end of my contract and I just had a fucking 3-try game, you know, whatever. And it's like that sort of insight that like you can, it'll only help you as an individual brand as well as the general shit. But like if you want to get your own sort of endorsements or you're trying to sort of sell yourself as well, ultimately being open to media is the thing that will help you get there.
Well, but like even from an NRL perspective, right? There are so many fence sitters, like periphery fans, that will follow it, like will come to games if their team's doing well or if there's some narrative to a fucking match or something like that, then you'll get them in there. All access shit like that can only help bring them in.
Yes.
Your hardcore guys aren't ever going to go
They're
away.
not going anywhere.
They love that shit. They live for it, documentary or not.
Yes.
But the fence sitters, the people that are sort of like in the background, who are the masses essentially, they're the fuckers you want to be getting brought in.
But that's the thing, right? You're telling the story that's outside of just the week to week fucking who's winning, who's like, you know, oh yeah, we won, we lost. You can see, you know, what's on the news, what's in the podcast that everyone's talking about. Like the week to week shit is one thing, but like the behind the scenes, which Tales of Tiger Town tried to do, but it was too from the Tigers' perspective, I think, and it probably wasn't. There probably wasn't enough for just one club.
I'd like to see, because you could also make the argument, are NRL players paid enough? Because most of them aren't paid that much.
I mean, without knowing the finances of the game, I don't know that they're underpaid, but I don't know.
But I mean, from like, you know, all those
Maybe.
blokes on the grid are on fucking millions. And so it's sort of like, this is part of it. If you're on 200 grand.
But what's gonna help that price increase? More awareness, more eyeballs, more fucking like what's gonna help?
But do you see the tangible? But do you see the tangible benefits of it if you're paid that low? I'm just sort of
I'm hearing
playing
you.
the other side of the card.
Well, listen,
I would like to see them start it with Origin.
yes, absolutely. But what I'm trying to but like back to what you were saying there, where it's like if you're paid fuck all, let's say you're, what is it? I think maybe it's like 150 grand for like.
I think that's minimum, yeah.
Yeah, minimum wage. Obviously isn't, if that's going to go up, obviously it's not like, oh, we need a documentary on us. That's the only way it's going to go up. But like general interest in the game, if you can create a documentary that, look, I'm going to sit here and say that a Drive to Survive rugby league documentary is going to shatter international fucking records or that it will even blow up in other countries necessarily. But a good documentary is a good documentary. And if you're a sports fan, like you can watch a good documentary on a sport you don't give a fuck about if it's a good documentary, a la Formula One, where I couldn't give a shit.
Or the all or nothings like they did on the All Blacks and Man City. And
Yeah,
Tottenham
exactly.
shit.
That sort of stuff, right? So, I don't know. Like, just seeing Drive to Survive and seeing how much access there was and seeing how well they told or they have to the episodes I've seen, the inner workings of a thing where it's like, I can be looking at the Manly side, but I don't know that these two players are competing for the same spot or that this guy's coming off contract and that he's under pressure or that, you know, this guy's fucking doesn't get on with the coach. Who knows? Whatever it is. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you could certainly do one. Put it in up, like you film it during the season, drop it at the end of the season. So you don't put it up while players are playing and it, you know, affects
No. You do it at the end of the season.
Do it at the end
in
of the
the off
season.
season.
Yeah.
Like October, November. Fucking oath.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's good gear.
Because that's the thing as well with Tiger Town, dropping it during the season while the players are playing is like a weird.
Nah, that was weird.
That is only going to put pressure on.
That was weird.
But that's the same with Origin, right?
But also,
Like-
they didn't have enough time to edit it properly.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they left shit out. Like they left out their There are times they got pumped. It's
Yes.
like, or they glossed
over him. Yeah,
I'm like, let's talk about the 60-0 walloping.
by the Storm. Like, do we not talk about that where they were like,
Surely we talk about that.
they were like over a point a minute for most of the game? Do we not want to mention that one? Because that was one that everyone else wanted to fucking see the reactions of. And that's this. And again, you film every fucking club.
Completely agree, Tom. Completely agree.
Before we move on, I can give you some info on Bernie Ecclestone.
Yes.
Who got married for a third time in April 2012.
Good on him.
To 35-year-old Fabiana Flossie.
How old was he then?
He would have been, let me just do some maths, 81. It said she was
Holy
46 years younger than him.
Shit balls.
And so that was
He
2012.
was 46 when she was born. Again, they're now both consenting adults, but holy fuck,
That's
an
pretty
age gap.
crazy.
I don't think that works for the 7.5 rule.
He could be a fucking grandpa
Yes.
comfortably. Great
Well,
grandpa.
I think at that point he already was, but then
Might be a stretch.
Well, look, if you have him young.
8 years into their marriage, so April 2020, they announced that they were expecting a son, which was due a few weeks before his 90th birthday.
Okay, there you go. So your dad's 90. That's just unfair.
That is fucking outrageous. And how old is he now? Is he still involved in F1 or is he stood
He'd
back?
be what, 90?
He'd be
91?
turning 92 this year, yeah.
Is he still involved?
I don't think he is.
Possibly not. That's pretty fucking old.
Yeah,
Dude,
he was removed from his position in 2017. It
There you
also
go.
seems like maybe kind of like other 90-year-old people, he does have a bit of a penchant for saying absurd and offensive things.
I'm not surprised. I mean, you're 90
Let's
years
get him
old.
out of the limelight now.
Yeah. You're
Before he
saying
says something rogue.
You say outdated. You've got some outdated views.
Jesus.
Which, I'm not... I mean, depending... I haven't heard what his views are, so I might judge him on them. But there is an element with the old where you're like, listen, you're probably not going to change them. So you just need to wheel them out of the light.
Yeah.
Wheel them out of the spotlight.
Just wheel him out.
If there's some really egregious shit, sure. But if it's, it's not like an apologist or approval of outdated views, but there is a reality to old dogs, new tricks.
Yeah.
Well, there's a saying for a reason.
There is.
Two of the sections on his Wikipedia include George Floyd comments and Hitler controversy.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's wheel him out.
Wheel him out. Wheel him out. Bernie, your time's done, bruh.
Yeah.
It's time to watch from home.
Yeah, it's time to go and be a grandparent to your son.
Well, a great-great-grandparent to your son.
Yeah, a
You
great
could argue.
great-grandparent.
A great.
No, you definitely argue a great-great-grandparent. Or a great-grandparent, sorry.
Definitely a great.
Definitely
Great-greats.
great.
You never hear of great-greats.
Dude, if you're great-greats are usually...
Great-greats are rare.
Mum had me at 20. I had my first kid at fucking 19.
Mum had me at 20. I had my
Or
first
grandma,
kid at 20.
no, grandma had mum at 19.
20, 20, 20. What's that get you to?
60.
60. So if you went 20, 20, 20,
20,
20, then you can have a great-great that would be 80. Is that right?
20, 20, 20, 20. So great,
No.
great, grandma, daughter.
Daughter has
If
a
daughter's
kid.
20 and has a kid, then mum's 40, or let's say 38.
No, just go 40. For
Okay, go
argument's sake.
40. Grandma's 60. Great-grandma's 80. Great-great-grandma's 100.
100. And the kid's just born.
Yeah.
So you never see great-greats.
No, that's a stretch. You could, though, if you started dropping that down to if you were going 18 is the legal age, isn't it? So if you had a bunch of 18s in there
Then you're back to 90
for a great-great.
for a great-great. So that's some great math.
Yeah. Are you aware of the Australian Test cricketer called Cam Baggy Green?
I am.
What's another one of the nicknames that you might have for Cam?
Redwood.
That's what I would have said, Eddie. Now, I don't know what this is. Is this an omen? Is it a fucking... just a message from the gods? Is it serendipity? But if you were to do a little DYORing into Cam Baggy Green or the Redwood, you find that he is happily in a relationship, which I'm happy for him. You then go into the profile of said girlfriend. What do you think her last name is?
Is it Redwood? Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Redwood. I don't know her first name. I mean, I've there we go. There we go. Where are we here? Emily Redwood.
Is it any wonder that someone with the last name Redwood would find themselves a Redwood for a partner?
Find themselves a Redwood to love, to settle down with. Well, hopefully. I think now that it's important they marry and you know, create children.
I think so. I think it's a great union of redwoods, Tom.
Yes. Build a
great-
little forest. You
Build
know?
a little forest. Start with little saplings.
Yeah, exactly.
Sucklings.
Saplings, I think.
Saplings?
I don't know. It looks like they've been together for a while.
Well,
Is this high school sweetheart stuff?
It's funny, we were having this conversation, I was with my mate when we were at the cricket, because we were like, is Cam Green dating anyone at the moment? If not, he would have the pick of any woman in Australia. But we did work out, they've been going out for a long time, definitely before, like,
Is that
he
him
had
there
any sort
in
of
the
fame.
middle?
That's not him there.
who's that?
This looks like it's a high school formal or something.
Well, we can fuck that bloke off.
Yeah, I mean, this is,
So
we're
I think-
going back to like quite an underage
Go to the
person,
first
right?
photo of them. That one.
There you go, it's nice. Is this Instagram debut?
So about 2 years ago, February 29, 2020.
There you go. 20-year-old. Fuck, he's tall.
On the swan.
She must be kind of tall though, I think, to be, you know, she looks small next to him, but he's fucking 200 centimeters.
I don't think she looks that tall.
No, but I'm
he's
saying it's-
leaning over as well.
Yes, but I'm saying next to a giant, you don't look tall. Next to a redwood.
She's not even up to his... She's
Shoulder?
got heels on there. And she's not even up to
That's
his
true,
shoulder.
Maybe. Either way, redwood. He's a redwood. She's a redwood. It's a union
Of redwoods.
of redwoods, and I just thought that
Saplings
was,
on the way.
Saplings on the way. Forest soon. Shout out to Redwoods.
Isn't that fantastic?
Isn't that great, Eddie?
Great show.
Great show. For anyone, well, for the dribblers who have been asking us about even as well, we are going to kick that back off again just before footy season. So we've got some things in the pipe, things in the works. We won't get into it right now, but it just made more sense from a show standpoint to go, all right, let's get our ducks in a row, and then we hit the ground running. We'll pick it back up from where we left off, which was me dominating, and we'll get into our rugby league work, which, fuck me, is not far away.
Absolutely love it. Next week we will meet again, Tom.
We will meet again next week.
And I can't wait for that. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Could you two just not talk anymore?